As the sun slowly rose over the horizon on the morning of April 16, 2025, a quiet sense of hope spread across the world. In cities and towns, from the busy streets of New York to the peaceful hills of Tuscany, people waited. Some stood silently, in prayer. Others gathered with family and friends, their hearts filled with joy and curiosity. The world was watching. Something important was about to happen. It was a day that would go down in history. It was a day when the Catholic Church turned a new page. It was the day Cardinal Luis Tagle of the Philippines was crowned as the new Pope, Pope Luis I. The Vatican, with its grand buildings and deep traditions, stood in silence. It had seen many changes over the centuries, but this day felt different. Beneath the great dome of St. Peter's Basilica, inside the Sistine Chapel, the cardinals had gathered. Dressed in red, they walked slowly, praying and reflecting, knowing that their decision would shape the future of the Church. For days the world had seen black smoke rise from the chimney above the chapel. It meant the decision had not yet been made. But on this morning, something changed. White smoke rose into the sky. Bells rang out through the streets of Rome. A wave of excitement swept through St. Peter's Square. The crowd looked up, waiting for the announcement. When the name was finally spoken, Cardinal Luis Tagle, a cheer rose up from the crowd. People cried, embraced and prayed. The man chosen to lead the Church was a humble, gentle soul from Manila, a man of faith, wisdom and compassion, a man who had always lived simply and served with great love. For the first time in history, a Filipino had become Pope. For the first time, the papacy belonged to Asia. As he stepped onto the balcony dressed in white, the world saw not only a new Pope, but a symbol of unity and change. Pope Luis XI raised his hand in blessing, and the sound of cheers echoed far beyond Rome. In the Philippines there was joy like never before. Streets filled with people, churches overflowed, flags waved, music played. It was a celebration of faith, of hope, and of national pride. The journey of Pope Luis I did not begin in grand palaces or powerful halls. It began in the heart of Manila, a place full of life and faith. Born into a simple family, Luis Tagle was surrounded by the warm and colorful traditions of the Filipino people. He grew up hearing the sound of church bells and the laughter of neighbors. From a young age he felt a deep love for God. He saw the face of Christ in the poor, the sick, and the lonely. As a young man, he chose to serve. He became a priest, not for power but for purpose. He wanted to guide, to teach, and to listen. People were drawn to his kindness. He spoke with warmth and honesty. He did not speak in long, difficult sermons. He told stories, asked questions, and made people feel understood. In time, he became the Bishop of Imus. Later, he was chosen as the Archbishop of Manila. With every step, he showed the same care and humility. He walked with the people. He visited the sick, comforted the grieving, and stood with the poor. His message was always the same: God is love, and we must love each other. In 2012, he was made a cardinal. For the Philippines, it was a proud moment. It showed the world that the faith of this island nation was strong and alive. Cardinal Tagle became known across the globe, not just in churches, but in homes, schools, and even on social media. People saw in him a new kind of leader, one who smiled, who cried with the suffering, and who always pointed to God. He was later appointed to lead the Vatican's office for the evangelization of peoples. In this role, he traveled far and wide. He spoke with people from many lands and many faiths. He never judged. He always listened. He built bridges where there were walls. He helped people feel that they belonged in the church, no matter their background. So when Pope Francis's health began to fade, the world watched closely. Many wondered who would come next. The conclave was called. Cardinals from every part of the world came to Rome. They carried with them the prayers of billions. They voted, not with politics in mind, but with the hope of choosing a shepherd for our time. And on that April morning, they chose Luis Tagle. His election sent ripples of joy across the world. In the Philippines, people cried openly. Young and old gathered in churches, offering prayers of thanksgiving. In Manila, families watched the moment unfold on TV, holding hands, wiping away tears. Spontaneous celebrations broke out in the streets. Music played, people danced. It was a national moment, not just because a Filipino had become pope, but because a man of such kindness and faith had been chosen to lead. Across Asia, the news brought a mix of joy and reflection. From the cities of Japan to the rural villages of India, people understood what this meant. It was a sign that Asia's time had come, that the Church truly belonged to every land and every people. In places where Christians are a small group, the moment felt deeply meaningful. It showed that every voice matters, that the gospel is alive in every culture. In Rome, the reaction was just as powerful. Though far from home, Pope Luis Tagle was quickly embraced. His smile was familiar. His presence felt gentle. Even those who were seeing him for the first time felt a connection. He had a quiet strength that reached people's hearts. World leaders sent messages of congratulations. Newspapers around the globe shared his image. Social media was filled with words of hope and joy. The hashtag #InPopeLuis trended worldwide. It was not just a church event. It was a global moment. People of all religions, and even those without religion, saw in him something beautiful, something that made them believe again in goodness, humility, and peace. Pope Luis I did not waste time. In his first message, he spoke simply and clearly. He called for love, for peace, for understanding. He asked people to care for each other, to forgive, to build a better world. He reminded us that the Church must not be a place of power, but a place of welcome, a place where the poor are lifted and where no one feels alone. His message reached everyone. It was not about rules or fear. It was about kindness, courage, and faith. His voice was calm but firm. He was not afraid to speak about the hard things, the pain in the world, the hunger, the war, the loneliness. But he also reminded us of what is possible, that together with love and patience we can heal. As the sun set on that historic day, the city of Rome glowed with golden light. But the light felt different. It was not just the setting sun. It was the hope that had risen with the new pope, a light from the east, a light from the heart of the Philippines, a light that would shine across the world. Pope Luis I's story is one of deep faith and humble service. It is a reminder that greatness does not come from fame or wealth, but from kindness and love. It is a story that inspires people to look within, to ask how they can help, how they can love, how they can live with faith and hope. His life is a mirror of the Filipino spirit, strong, joyful, faithful, and full of heart. The Philippines has long been one of the most devout Catholic countries in the world. Now, through Pope Luis III, its voice echoes in every corner of the globe. But his message is not just for Filipinos, it is for everyone. He speaks to the old and the young, to the rich and the poor, to believers and non-believers. He reminds us all that we belong to one family, that we must care for our earth, for the poor, for the broken, and for each other. Under his leadership, many believe the Church will move forward with new energy. A Church that listens more, that includes more, that understands the needs of people today. A Church that is truly global, truly united, and truly centered on love. The road ahead will not be easy. The world still faces many problems, but with Pope Luis I, there is new hope. Hope for healing, hope for peace, hope for a Church that walks with people, not above them. As his papacy begins, millions pray for him. They ask God to give him strength, wisdom, and courage. They ask that his smile never fades, that his heart stays soft, that his love keeps growing, because in him the world sees the light again. And so, a new dawn begins, a chapter not just in church history, but in the story of humanity. A chapter written with love by a shepherd from Manila who now carries the hopes of the world.